Close your eyes for a second. Let the years peel back. It's Friday night, 1995. You've just walked through the automatic sliding glass doors. What hits you first? Is it the sound? That very specific, cavernous echo of 10,000 footsteps on polished tile, underlined by the distant, synthesized pulse of muzak? Or is it the smell? A hyper-sweet chemical perfume. The collision of warm sugar from Cinnabon, heavily chlorinated fountain water, and the faint, rubbery scent of new sneakers from Foot Locker. For a generation, this wasn't just a place to buy things. It was a sanctuary. It was climate-controlled eternal spring, safe from parents, safe from weather, safe from the outside world. Sociologists call it the third place, that essential anchor of community life that isn't home and isn't work or school. For suburban kids in the 90s, the mall was our town square. It was the physical precursor to the internet, a massive, interconnected server room made of drywall and neon where you went to log in, see who was online, and exist together. It felt like paradise. It felt permanent. But paradise was built on borrowed time. And when the fall came, it didn't happen overnight. It was a slow, agonizing glitch in the American dream. To understand why the death of the mall feels so personal, we have to understand why they made us feel so good in the first place. It wasn't an accident. You were being engineered. This feeling was designed in the 1950s by an Austrian architect named Victor Gruen. Gruen hated the American suburbs. He found them isolating and car-dependent. His vision for the indoor mall was actually utopian. He wanted to recreate the walkable, communal feel of a European city center, but perfected. No rain, no snow, just eternal climate-controlled comfort. A modern agora. He succeeded perhaps too well, creating a psychological phenomenon that became known as the Gruen Effect. The Gruen Effect is that feeling of pleasant disorientation. Notice the design choices of the classic 90s mall. There are rarely any clocks. Windows to the outside world are almost non-existent in the main concourses. The lighting is brighter than reality, designed to keep you energized. The layouts often curve, preventing you from seeing the exit, gently forcing you past just one more store. The goal was to induce a mild trance state, to make you forget time, forget your anxieties, and simply drift. And in that trance, we built a culture. The architecture facilitated a social hierarchy. The food court was the grand stage, the place to see and be seen, fueled by Sbarro slices and Orange Julius. Stores weren't just retailers, they were identity markers. Were you the edgy kid hanging out in the back of Spencer's? The music nerd flipping through import CDs at Sam Goody? The mall gave us the physical space to try on different personalities until one fit. It felt safe because it was enclosed. It felt exciting because everyone was there. It was a perfect machine for consumption, yes, but it was also a perfect machine for connection. The lazy narrative is that Amazon came along and killed the mall. And while e-commerce was the executioner, the mall was already dying of a chronic illness long before prime shipping existed. The slow poison started with the economy. The Great Recession of 2008 was a massive chest wound for the American consumer. The disposable income that fueled the weekly mall trips evaporated. People stopped buying $50 jeans at Abercrombie just to hang out. They started shopping with purpose, often at discount big box stores outside the mall ecosystem. Furthermore, America had simply built too many malls. In the 80s and 90s, developers were driven by tax incentives to pave over suburbs at an unsustainable rate. We had vastly more retail square footage per person than any other country on Earth. It was a retail bubble, and it had to burst. But the real killer, the thing that truly ended the 90s mall paradigm, wasn't economic. It was technological. And I don't mean online shopping. The moment the smartphone entered our pockets, the third place migrated. Suddenly, you didn't need to go to the food court to find out who was dating who. You checked Facebook. You didn't need to wander the corridors to bump into your friends, you texted them. The mall's primary function for youth culture social connection was digitized. The physical internet was replaced by the actual internet. Once the social necessity evaporated, the inconvenience of the mall, the driving, the parking, the walking became glaringly obvious. We didn't stop socializing, we just stopped needing a building to do it in. Once the crowds thinned, the mechanical death spiral began. Malls are fragile ecosystems. They rely on a concept called anchor stores. These massive department stores, Sears, JCPenney, Macy's, paid very little rent. Their job was to draw the massive crowds that would then filter out into the smaller, high-rent shops like the Gap or Foot Locker. But when the anchors failed to adapt and began to liquidate, the physics of the mall broke. When an anchor leaves, it triggers co-tenancy clauses in the leases of the smaller stores. If Sears goes dark, the shoe store next door gets to pay reduced rent or break their lease entirely. It's a domino effect. The mall owner loses revenue, so they cut back on maintenance. The air conditioning breaks. The roof starts to leak. Security is cut. The bright, safe utopia becomes dark, damp, and dangerous. Today, walking into a dying mall is a deeply unsettling experience. It's a liminal space, a threshold between what was and what isn't yet. These vast structures, built specifically for massive crowds, are now deafeningly silent cathedrals of failed commerce. They are ghosts of a simpler, brighter optimism. Victor Gruen, the father of the mall, eventually disowned his creation. Before he died, he said he refused to pay alimony for those bastard developments. He hated that his vision of community was warped into pure consumerism. But looking back, I think we managed to find the community anyway, in spite of the consumerism. When we mourn the mall, we aren't mourning the ability to buy an orange Julius. We are mourning a specific type of shared public life that doesn't exist anymore. A time when we could be alone, together. The neon lights are off now. The fountains are dry. But if you listen closely to the silence, you can almost still hear the echo.